Hey everybody, Tom here from Whistle Thicket, and I am going to talk about how to process a small amount of beeswax. So if you're a beekeeper like me, you may have been lucky enough to get some beeswax this year. This is my first year, so I only got about half a pound of beeswax, but my mentor, a friend of mine, was nice enough and he gave me some extra beeswax that he had stored through the years. And I'm planning on, I guess, making some candles, some lip balm, and just having fun with it. So this is what beeswax looks like. It can be light in color, it can be darker, it can be really dark. So there's lots of different types of beeswax, and it all depends on where the beeswax is taken from and how old the wax is. This is older beeswax. This is drawn comb. This probably had brood in it. This looks like older honeycomb. And this is actually from my hive. This is just burr comb that I've scraped off over the last 6 months when I do bee inspections. So I have processed some wax already. And this is what it looks like right now. So this is a little misleading because there's really no particles on it or anything, but this was actually comb that my bees did not have time to get a lot of honey in it, and it was drawn comb, and it was for cut comb, and I decided to just have some fun and I processed it. So this is the final product, though. I'm going to melt this all down again, and it's going to be in one big block. So this is another section of comb that I've processed once, but if you notice the problem, there is still a lot of foreign matter in this. This is mainly propolis, and that's the problem with beeswax, is that you're not just getting the beeswax, but there is probably a little bit of pollen in there. There's probably a little bit of honey, but there's also bee parts. There's probably a little bit of larvae, there's dirt, there's dead bees in here. So if you want to use the beeswax for making lip balm or candles, especially lip balm, I don't think anybody wants to be, using some lip balm and they see a bee's foot or bee's head. So you need to filter the wax. Now, the way I filtered this originally, I wrapped this in some old fishing net actually, and I processed it with the hot water method. I thought it was okay, but I'm going to have to process this again. So I am going to try something new for processing, and this is what I'm going to do. It starts with this pot. I got this for $4. It came with a lid at a thrift store. And I got this little strainer. I'm not sure what this is used for in the kitchen, but a food strainer, water strainer. So this is what I'm going to do first. I am going to fill this about halfway up with the unprocessed wax, and then I'm going to heat the water. I'm not really going to boil the water, but I'm going to heat it, and you'll be surprised how quickly the wax turns to liquid. It only takes a few minutes, maybe 5 minutes. And then I'm going to filter it through here with my food strainer. So let's go ahead and try this out. I think this method is going to be better than the methods I've tried before. I think I'll get cleaner wax the first time. As a note, you don't want to do this inside unless you're super safe. Wax is super flammable. You don't want it to boil over, and if it gets on your stove or your countertop, it's really hard to get wax out. So I'm doing this outside on my grill. And again, an open flame isn't the best way to do this, but I'm going to be careful that this doesn't boil over. So let's get to it. Well, I wouldn't count or call this a complete failure. It did go out, I guess, over the table, but it did actually catch a good amount of propolis and a lot of the dead bees. There's probably 4 or 5 full dead bees in here that it did catch. So I'm still working on that method. I'm gonna melt this down again. This is already pretty clean wax, but a tip is if you can melt a lot at once, you'll still get propolis on the bottom and the top, but if you can get a really thick block of wax going and let it cool slowly, like overnight, then you'll just have a little bit of propolis on the top and bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and melt this down again in a smaller pot, and then I'm going to put it with my other pot that's cooling inside my grill. That's a great place for me to put it because it keeps it away from kids, it keeps it outside, it can cool slowly. So in the morning, we're gonna check on our wax and see what it looks like. It's been not quite 24 hours, but probably 18 hours. I made my wax yesterday in my small pots. I did a little bit of filtering with that strainer, and it did okay. It actually got a lot of the propolis out. But let's go ahead and see what my wax blocks look like. So here's my larger processed wax. This is my first time processing it, or I guess rendering it is the correct term. The top side, as you can see, looks pretty good. The bottom has a lot of propolis on it, a lot of dirt. I actually see some larvae in there, a dead bee or two. But I'm gonna scrape this off, and I am gonna do the same process a second time, and then hopefully it's going to look a lot better. Here's one I've done twice. It still has some propolis, but I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to make it as nice as I can, and I'm not going to use it until I have all of this extra gunk filtered out. This is my first time processing wax, so maybe I'm not doing everything 100% right. If you have some suggestions on how I can improve my wax rendering process, please let me know. That's what I love about beekeeping and homesteading is lots of stuff to learn. Until next time.